Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. I decided to rebuild the Boba Tea shop in Copperdale. So this shop is a part of the new world. It's a new lot type and it's a combination of a boba tea shop and a thrift store. So you need the counter to sell boba tea. There are lots of requirements and also lots of clothing racks and a separate counter to sell the clothes. So it's a combination of two lot types essentially. So you have to meet all the requirements. So there's no way to just turn this into a boba tea shop. It also has to be a thrift shop, which is pretty cool. So I decided to just rebuild the whole thing. I loved the original design. It was really cute, but I just wanted to build a more modern version. And I started off by working on a round section, of course, and I just used the biggest round room available. And I then placed a foundation piece on top because I wanted to raise the platform, and you can see that there's a horrific glitch, and I simply placed it on the ground and placed it back on top of the round room, raised it again, and it was kind of working. I felt like the exterior trim from Get Famous triggered this issue. I have no idea, it's really random. There's a new laundry list for a patch, so a lot of things are going to be fixed soon. I only saw gameplay issues on the laundry list, so I'm not really sure if there will be any fixes for the build by glitches we are facing right now, because we definitely need a patch for build mode, just saying. And yeah, I'm just hoping that this will also be fixed. I wanted to have a super modern entrance, so I used these doorways from Eco Lifestyle. I placed two of them, and I then used the Island Living Glass 4 to have these really fancy open doors. So this way the room is fully closed, but it looks as if the doors are open. It just looks fancy, and because doorways still function as regular doors, it is fully closed and it doesn't matter, and I just wanted this to look very fancy. The whole color palette for this is really dark in combination with some really warm wood tones, and I used this wall decoration in different areas. It's from Eco Lifestyle. There's a very similar one in Get Famous actually, which can be used as a room divider, but this one snaps to a wall, and I sized it down, and I just wanted to have a counter in front of the window in the round section. I just had this type of scenario in my mind where you have a table counter in front of a window in a cafe, and then there's someone sitting and on their computer just maybe writing something, maybe a student, maybe a writer who is just writing something, and they're grabbing a coffee or a tea and they're just spending some time in there. And whenever you see this in a movie or TV show, they always show this from the outside, and you see the person like sitting right in front of the window, which is also super cool because the person can just enjoy the view. Maybe they feel inspired, and I totally wanted to do the same thing, and I wanted to use the round room for this. So I rotated each individual counter just a little bit. It's just a regular island counter, and I used Alt and the left mouse button to rotate this freely, and I just placed a couple of counters and that's it. I used these really industrial looking lamps. I think they are from Dine Out, so I wanted to incorporate a wonderful industrial vibe. This painting is No CC Gallery art. I'm going to add the ID to the description box and also to the gallery upload. I just wanted to add something to the exterior that just screams tea, or like you can just buy any type of drink in there, like coffee, tea, something like this, because it wouldn't look like a proper boba tea shop otherwise. I think when you like think of boba tea and a boba tea shop, it's all about everything being a bit colorful and cute and stuff, and I felt like the original version, which is part of the pack, is exactly this. This might give us some Starbucks vibes in a way, but I love modern architecture, and I just wanted to build this very modern, cool version. Like, I don't know, I just think it looks so aesthetically pleasing. I love this so much. I love everything about this. Like, I'm so happy about this, like, because I have such a hard time working on community lots usually, but this was so much fun. Like, I discovered a new love like my love for building community lots maybe. Like, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I'm sometimes a bit hard to myself when it comes to building, especially community lots. So I was just happy with this, and I hope that you like it too, because this is like the most important thing for me, that you enjoy what I'm creating. And yeah, recently, as you know, I've talked about this. When I'm building residential lots, I always use darker columns, windows, everything. And for the longest time, I would only use white swatches for everything, like columns, windows, exterior trims. Like, I'm in my dark swatch era, kind of. And I feel like I definitely channeled this type of vibe here. And also just placed random objects on the outside, because you have this long list of requirements. And when you click on a requirement, it immediately brings you to the section in Build By of the objects that you would need. It's much easier to find all the objects. And sometimes whenever I'm working on a build that has requirements, I like to place all the stuff somewhere. Also when I'm working on a penthouse, for example. And the main issue when you are building a penthouse is that it's not allowing you to save unless you've met all the requirements. And I hate this because I'm such a paranoid builder. I save all the time, and also when I'm editing videos, I make a small change and I'm saving, like, immediately. My fingers are always on Control S. I'm always saving. And yeah, I like to do the same when I'm building, and I hate that you have to meet all the requirements for penthouses first. Yeah, and here I'm working on the little thrift store area, so you can see all the clothing racks. Placing 4 of them is a requirement, so I did exactly this. I would have preferred to only place 2 of them because I was running out of space, but I was trying to squeeze them in, and I've built this little area so the Sims would be able to change. I don't think that it's functional, it just looks fancy. The original one had something similar, so I just wanted this to like be as complete as the original one, if that makes sense. And here I've just used a half wall, the smallest height available, and I'm using the eco lifestyle wall decoration that I had used like in all kinds of areas in this build, and I just attached it to the half wall so it would be a really fancy fence. Because I mean, I've used it on the exterior, interior, and I just like to reuse the same object in another area so it's like really cohesive. So I did the same thing. Instead of just using a random fence, I decided to do it this way. This is a really small employee area, so they could grab a coffee maybe. I mean, there's lots of tea in this shop, but yeah, they could also grab a coffee. To be honest, I'm not sure if this shop is also selling coffee, like if you can only order the boba tea, or if it's really like some type of coffee situation as well. I have no idea. I then decided to build a room on top of the whole build. It looked too boring, it looked very flat, I didn't like the shape, so I did this just so it would look good. And also I used the sledgehammer tool to remove the floor. I then placed island living glass floors on top, so it's like a really fancy glass roof, and it's letting a lot of sunlight in, so when you look like on the inside of the build, it's really sun flooded and really beautiful now. So it looks really cool, but it also serves a purpose. Lots of light is coming in, and I then also added some tables to the exterior, like in the front, because I feel like that's also very typical for any type of shop like this one. So you just have an area where you can just sit on the outside, you can grab a tea. I then found this neon sign in Build By. It's from the new pack as well. I guess it's probably supposed to be used for a boba tea shop. And I then just decorated the outside a bit. And these lamps, I've used them in so many different areas. They are from the new pack as well. They are like LED stripes, and they are my new favorite item. You can place them below kitchen cabinets, for example. You can use them for all kinds of different things. They look very modern and fancy, and it's just really nice to use them as a light source. It just looks very cool. And I then used these LED panels from the new pack as well. They are like nano leaves, and they are technically supposed to be used behind a desk, so it's like the typical streamer setup, I guess. But here I just used them this way because I felt like it's a bit dark and I wanted to add like a couple of fancy items to make it look a bit more brighter and fancy and all that. So I used lots of them. And yeah, this is it. You can here see lots of screenshots. This boba tea shop is available in the gallery. My ID is KateEmerald, and you can also grab the trade files from my Patreon. And speaking of which, it's time to thank my wonderful Emerald Patreons and my Emerald YouTube members. A big thank you to Mehmet Ali Bariskan, Kamar Henderson, Alice Tweedy, Charlotte, Asia, Emma Barnes, Lisa Martin, Saturated Spark, Shannon McClam, Telena Lynn, Stephen, and Tina Turner. Thank you so much for your huge support. Also, a big thank you to all my other Patreons and my other YouTube members. Thank you so much for your support. And of course, thank you to anyone who's watching this. Watching my videos means so much to me, and I just can't say thank you enough for your support. Just by watching this video, I'm just so happy that you are here. I love you so much. And yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope that your Sims might enjoy this boba tea shop, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye.